welcome back to my channel, Planty Princess 92. My name is Ashley. Today I have a couple changes I want to make with my IKEA cabinet. I want to add a couple things. I want to change out a couple things that weren't working or holding up the way I was hoping. And also I am going to be adding a few Hoyas into my cabinet. So that's something that interests you. Stick around with me through this video and see what I am going to be adding to my cabinet and the Hoyas that I'm going to be putting in my cabinet. So now, as I just mentioned, there were a couple things that didn't work out as well as I thought they would. One of them being the weather stripping that I used. I did end up using this clear weather stripping here. It just peeled right off as I cracked it. And it was all along the sides, on the insides of the doors, and along the front of the door to prevent any moisture or humidity from escaping the cabinet. As you see, it kind of detached itself. It wasn't really sticking that well. I kept trying to push it back on, and then I finally just got fed up with it. So I am not going to be using this any longer. I was kind of considering leaving it on the front of the cabinet because this one didn't come off at all. So I don't know, maybe I will leave this on the front because it is actually working really nice for the doors of the cabinet here. So I'll definitely leave it there, I think, but I'm going to change out what I had along the sides and put something new up. So for that, I ended up getting this foam insulation. It's a 1/2 inch thick. It's a 1/2 inch wide and 3/8 of an inch thick. I will leave all the links to everything I'm using, everything I'm mentioning in this video down below. So if you're looking for it or interested in checking it out, it's easy access for you. Just go ahead down, click one of the links you're looking for, and check out the item that I'm talking about. So this is just your standard foam insulation. I thought this would be a better choice because one, it is black, so it will kind of just blend in with my cabinet. I do believe they have like a gray or maybe even white of this as well. Maybe not the exact link that I'm providing, but I'm pretty sure they do have gray and white of this type of insulation. Even if they don't, it's something that doesn't look bad because it will be in the creases. Rather than covering the creases, you're sticking it inside the creases so that way when it closes, it's in between the doors like this or in between the crevice of where the door and the cabinet meet. So I'm going to start by placing this in a few places. I'll bring you in closer so you can kind of see exactly where I'm going to be placing this. So first, we're going to start out placing it right here in this crease, all the way up and all the way down. So to do that, I am just basically going to stick it on the very edge, and when the door closes, you can't even, you know, it doesn't bend. It fits really nice in there. So that's what I'm going to start with doing, and I will show you it as we go along here. This width and this thickness is a perfect size for this cabinet. So literally, as long as you place it right on the edge, it's a perfect width that closing this doesn't like bend it in order to peel it up. I think that's what was happening with the clear stuff. It was kind of like, as I was closing it, it was like flipping up and just wasn't sticking because of that reason. There was something there always pushing it to peel. So this won't have that problem, which is one thing that I really like about it. So the first side done here, and now as you see, I close it. It kind of just literally closes with it, which is nice. Seals it up, closes fine. It doesn't stop the door from closing. And then you can see inside here, there is no crevice like there used to be. It's fully sealed, which I really like about that. So now that I have that one done, I'm gonna go ahead and get the other side done real quick. Okay, so there we have it. That gets that all accomplished. I also want to show you another thing that I added in here while we're down there. I added these little plugs into my outlet here, just to kind of prevent any moisture from getting in there. So I have little USB plugs that are added into here, and safety first outlet plugs added into this one. I covered up any openings that weren't being used currently. That way the humidity and the moisture doesn't soak up into the electronics and ruin it or cause any hazards. So that's also a good idea. Something to think about if you are putting your extension cord in the cabinet like I did. I just found it easier that way for my cords and everything like that. Everything worked out better that way. But because of that, I just wanted to make sure, again, that no moisture was able to get in there. So now we'll go ahead. I also am going to be adding pegboards into here. Now, I got clear pegboards. This set I got is actually really neat. Comes with a couple different things. It comes with a lot of different hanging accessories. But it comes with 2 little cup containers that you can put sphagnum in or put leca in. Great for growing anything. You can even put soil in them, whatever you want. They're probably about between 3 and 4 inches, probably closer to 3 inches, but it's a good size for, propagating, like I said, leca, anything like that. I also got these little long, I think they're about 12 inches, so foot long containers. They have little dividers, so it's 4 sections in them, but you can leave the dividers out if you want a whole 12-inch thing. Those little 3-inch cups or any 3-inch pot actually also does fit in there. So that would be a great thing to have a reservoir to hang more plants that you're growing in leca. Also, you can also just pop some sphagnum in there, which would be great for propagating and stuff like that. Let me grab them. So these are what I'm referring to. Like I said, these little boards, dividers come out. They actually come out and I inserted them in because I'm going to use them like that. But it's a nice deep size that you could use it as a reservoir for a mesh pot, or you could just pop some sphagnum in there to propagate or grow in sphagnum, which I thought was really neat and convenient. As well as these little cups, like I said, they're probably about 3 inches, which is a great size, and they already pre-come with the hooks on them. So I thought that was really neat. This is also good for propagating with sphagnum, or like I said, use it as a reservoir, or you can even just put the leca right in here and fill it up. I'm definitely going to use this. I'm not sure for what yet, but I am super excited to kind of have these. So I only have these 4 things I'm going to be putting on the pegboards at the moment. I have 2 pegboards I'm going to be putting in 2 sections of my cabinet. One of them I also going to be hanging my fan on, because the way my fan was hanging before, it just wasn't working out. So while I'm talking about my fan, I was actually hanging everything with magnets. So I hot glued the magnets onto the lights. I hot glued the magnets onto the fan, and the magnets would come attached. Like, the magnets were strong enough. They were super strong magnets. They were strong enough to hold the light and hold the fan on, but the glue, the magnets would come attached from the light and from the fan, and that would cause them to fall. So I'm now using, I've tried your regular like Velcro things that really didn't hold up too well, but I did get, it's sort of similar, but it's way stronger, way stickier. The humidity did not cause any of this to fall yet. I've had this set up for, I don't know, maybe a month or so now, and it's held up. So 3mm interlocking fasteners. They're super sticky, they're fine with the humidity, and they're strong enough to hold the light and the fan. The fan was just sitting too high though, because it had a little thing on it that clipped, so it was sitting like right here, and I didn't like that. So I'm now going to use something to hold it like this onto the pegboard rather than hanging down so low, because then that prevents me from kind of putting some more plants in here, and I didn't really like that. So that's another thing I changed, was the way that I'm hanging my lights. And again, I definitely didn't like the magnets because they just came attached for me and kept falling. I tried to hot glue them a few different times and they just weren't holding up. But I'm loving the 3mm interlocking fasteners. Again, those will be in the link below. So if you are having a hard time trying to figure out how to keep your lights up, definitely check these out, because They have been sticking nonstop for me. They haven't come loose or anything, and that is perfect. So now I'm going to go ahead and put some of these pegboards in and get some of these accessories put on, put some plants in here, and check out the whole final finished setup. Okay, so the pegboards are all in and ready to go. They look super nice. I love that they're clear. I chose to get the clear ones because, well, one, I really liked that you couldn't see them, but also because the white ones, and these are not from IKEA, by the way, they are from Amazon, but anyways, the white ones or really any other kind, they're made of some kind of like composite material, which I wasn't sure how well that would do with the humidity. I didn't want it to like mold or soak up that humidity and kind of like expand or anything crazy like that. This, because it's clear, it's made out of like a plastic material, so it will not mold, it will not rust, it will not expand, it will not absorb any of the moisture, which was definitely a big benefit because I plan to keep the humidity pretty high in here, especially because this cabinet is going to be mostly for my Hoyas. I'm sure I'll add a few odds and ends of different types of plants in here, but generally it's going to be Hoyas and they like a high humidity. Now this is what was attached to my fan, which was keeping it kind of hanging pretty low. So I took that off and I'm going to use this to hang it. So I'm gonna just hook it through, you know, one of these and kind of just hang it like that. I did make sure that when the fan is spinning, the propellers aren't hitting this. It is a good 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch away from the propellers, so will be no safety issue for this to be in there like that. So this was definitely a big bonus to hanging this way. I'll just kind of, I should have put that in there before. I can't get that in from the top while it's attached. So that is a lot better. It's higher up than it was before. I can definitely set a little plant here and it'd be no issue to have the fan there. It's not in the way by any means. Also, I'm going to be hanging my thermostat humidifier gauge on the pegboard as well. I am going to be using this attachment from the pegboard. It's kind of just like, I'm not really sure what it is, but it works. So I'm gonna, on the back here, it has this fold out thing so you could let it stand up. I'm gonna insert that in that and just close it and it will hang just like that. So actually we'll put this probably right in the middle here. Let me see if that's too high. Perfect. So that's how that is hanging, which I think looks really awesome. Now that's all I'm gonna leave on the top for now. I don't want to put too much up there because I do have some plants that I am currently going to be setting on this shelf. So I'm gonna hang everything else on the pegboard that's on the second shelf, and then we'll see. I probably won't be placing anything in them right now just because I already have trays I am going to put that in. Also, I did find these really nice, neat looking trays for my Hoyas I am growing in Leca. So I'll have to show you those. They're oval. You can fit 4 of them on here and it just looks neat. It looks nice. Obviously, the purpose of this isn't aesthetic, but it's always nice to have it look aesthetically pleasing rather than having it kind of look all icky, non-matching. I really like it to match and just look nice, especially because it's in my sunroom. It's in a nice room. So wait till I show you guys those trays that I found on Amazon. So let's see. Maybe I'll do that. And I'll just hang 2 of these for now. And then And then maybe, you know what, I will hang this one there. I am so excited. So I did end up hanging one of the 12-inch shelves on the top there. I think it would have been too crowded to kind of hang them both on the bottom or on the same shelf period. And then I hung a cup there, and my other 12-inch shelf or container right here. I'm definitely going to leave the dividers in them because I like that they're all separate like that. And obviously then the bottom two shelves, I don't know that I'll ever put anything on the very bottom. That's kind of where the electrical wires are. Maybe I would put like a plant and soil, definitely nothing in LECA, just for the fear that the water would spill and get on the wires. So that's everything that I'm doing for now to my IKEA cabinet. Let me go grab those trays and we'll get some plants put in here. And I can't wait to show you the Hoyas that are going in. First thing I'm going to show you is the pots that I'm going to be using in my IKEA cabinet. For the stuff that I'm going to be growing in LECA, semi-hydroponically, I got these cute little clear 3-inch pots. I do have clear 4-inch pots if I need them, but honestly at the moment, all my Hoyas are really just little cuttings, so they are going to be in these little 3-inch pots. I love the fact that they're clear because that gives you more access to kind of see what's going on in there, the roots, and if the LECA needs to be clean, kind of what's growing on the inside of your containers and stuff like that. I like that I'm able to see that, so I can better gauge when these do need to be cleaned, when they do need to be flushed. For any soil plants I'll be growing in this cabinet, I have these little clear orchid pots, they're technically called, with the slots in them. I like that there's not like slots all the way down the thing because it just prevents less soil from escaping, and really the slots are not even that big. So I have the 3-inch, and then I also have a 4-inch of the same pot. And then these are the trays I was talking about. So I'm still working on getting off the little smudgy stickers, so I'm not going to be placing the plants in these today, but they're really neat because they're nice, they're long, they're deep enough that you can fill the reservoir for one of these pots, and you see how far it goes up. It goes up to about here on the pot. So that's plenty of water for a semi-hydroponic plant, especially in a 3 or 4-inch pot. And I just love the way these look. Like I said, for these, without that sitting there, obviously fit in here really nicely and neatly. So that's one reason I really like these. Also, because I have that, I could just take one out. I have 2 on the side, and I could place the other one like that, and it just looks really cute. So if I didn't have that, like I just did, I could place these 4 of them like this, and they'd go all the way back, and it just kind of keeps your plants more organized, more neat looking. But for these 2 shelves, I will just keep them like this, and 4 3-inch pots can fit in each one of these, and let's see, 3 4-inchers can fit. So I can either fit 4 of these on each tray or 3 of these on each tray, which is honestly a decent amount of pots to be held in those little containers. And like I said, I just love the way it looks, so I'm super excited to use them. I'm not going to be using them today because, like I just mentioned, there's that sticky stuff on them. I'll probably use, I don't really know what it's called, that stuff in the tin can, W7, WD-40, WD-70, something like that. But whatever, to get that sticky residue off of here, because it just looks yucky, and then eventually from it sitting in the water will kind of just start to peel up on its own, and I don't want that in my plant water. So let me grab my Hoyas that I'm going to be placing in here, and I will show you each of them inside my IKEA cabinet. Okay, so I have 2 Hoyas here that I was just kind of rooting in sphagnum. I have my Hoya macrophylla pot of gold, and then I have my Hoya Rinzii Borneo. These 2 I am going to be putting in the clear tray dish type thing with the inserts. I'm going to actually fill one of those with sphagnum and insert these both in there, because this is just so much sphagnum. And honestly, I always have an issue with rooting in sphagnum. My cuttings always tend to rot. I think it's because I do stuff like this. This is such a big container of moss, so all that extra moisture is just kind of surrounding the stems, and they don't need that. Also, because it's just 2 little cuttings, I'm not going to put them in separate containers. I'm going to keep them in one of these, and I think that will be just fine. In this mix, I have sphagnum, I have a little bit of perlite, and I have a little bit of lava rocks to kind of keep it a little aerated and, you know, getting that air as close to the roots as possible. So I'll just kind of give you an update while I'm here taking these out. This is the Hoya Rinzii Borneo. Nothing has really changed with the roots. There's still nothing there. The top though still does look healthy. It's still green. It's still like slowly growing. So honestly, I think if this wasn't going to make it, I think it would have died by now. But I'm not 100% sure about that. I'm still hoping for the best. So we're going to stick this little girl right here. Get her down in there. Kind of just surround her stem. And then I have the Hoya Macrophylla Pot of Gold. Nothing has really changed with her roots either. She did lose a leaf, obviously, but there's that little growth point at the top that also still looks very healthy. So I also have high hopes for this one. I'll go ahead and give this a little spritz. It's kind of dry, so. And then I'm gonna go ahead and grab the rest of my Hoyas. So I'm gonna leave those there just like this. I'll also show you a little update on all these Hoyas. These are all the Hoyas I imported from Asian Plant Exports as well. We have the Hoya Parek Teddy Bear, the Hoya Jennifer. We have the Hoya Macrophylla Pot of Gold. I have 2 of those. This one as well. This is the Hoya Erythrina. This is the Hoya Rosita. And then we have the Hoya Da Nang Vietnam. So that's all I have in here for now. I do have some other Hoyas I'm going to be getting. I have some Hoyas in the grow tent behind me that I may transfer back to here because I want to put some on some trellises. Some of them are getting really large, really long, and they definitely need a trellis. So because this is a little bit taller and I want this to be like a Hoya cabinet, I'll probably trellis them up, throw them in my IKEA cabinet, and fill this cabinet up. So right now, that's all I have for this video. That's all I'm going to be placing in this cabinet. I also do have 2 water trays for now that I am placing in here to just kind of keep the humidity up. I'll have one on this shelf, one on this shelf. And that will just kind of keep the humidity rising a little bit more until I get more plants in here. Plants perspire, so just having more plants in this cabinet will help to raise the humidity. Right now it's at 21%. Obviously it's open. It has been getting up to a good 50-55% just with these plants. I definitely want to get it closer to 70%. The temperature has been between 70 and 80 at all times, so that is perfect, especially for Hoyas, especially for Hoyas that are acclimating or rooting. So I cannot wait to see where this cabinet takes my plants, and once it's all full of plants, I can't wait to show you what that looks like. Thank you guys for joining me in another video. I hope you got some good tips on some accessories to use for your cabinet, some supplements on things that didn't work for me that may not be working for you as well, and also some more plants to add to your collection. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you're interested in the content I provide. And as always, every plant's a princess. Bye.